Well, today's going to be one of those shows that if you're a non-believer, you're not going to like me. Although the opinions about to be heard are that of mine, J. Michael McCoy, and not that of KTIA.
Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Ha! Let's get it started in here. Yeah.
Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
Welcome back to the airwaves. It is a Wednesday, the 10th day of the 10th month of the 2012th year. If you're a Gentile. If you're a Jew, it's year 5757. It's still October 10th, though, right, to the Jewish people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that.
How many Jews do you suppose are watching, though, that need to know what day it is?
Well, there's people, friends who are Jewish that watch. We may have a Jewish show on Webcast One Live platform here pretty soon.
I understand that.
I think that'd be good. I'd like that.
They had an interesting point of view.
Today is a program. By the way, did you text Chris?
Chris has been texted. He's
Okay.
been warned not to watch or listen.
Chris, you, the station manager of KTIA, this is not a show you should watch or listen to. Stu Epperson Jr., if you're Brian, if you're, not today. This is not today. This is going to be one of those shows that if you're a non-believer, you're going to say, that's why I don't like Christians. They're so judgmental. But I'm not being judgmental at all. I'm being very, very reasonable. Because in my journey, in my walk with Christ, which hasn't always been an easy one. Maybe yours has been. Maybe I'm the same as yours. Maybe yours has been rougher than mine.
It shouldn't be an easy one.
It shouldn't be an easy one?
No.
Good. Okay. Then I have encountered along the way many, many Sauls. Many, many people who not only disagree with our religion, our biblical worldview, but they're very vocal about it. And for some reason, I'm very comfortable with those people. I don't know why. I've never been uncomfortable around atheists or agnostics. I'm not a very good apologetic person. I mean, I'm not trained in that area. But I have a compassion for those people who are non-believers. I don't feel like I should point them out as any worse than I am or anything like that.
Well, you care more about them getting to know the Lord.
I'm into Matthew 28, 18, which is, the Great Commission. But today, and now as I say that, today, you're going to have a hard time listening to this probably. And here's the theory that I want to discuss today. Now, just listen. This is the theory that I want to discuss. This is not something I absolutely believe in, that I've put my name on and the stakes in the ground and I've planted my flag. I'm very open to someone telling me why this theory couldn't be true. I'm very open to that. And I hope the phone lines are filled with good Christian people and non-believers to tell me why this theory of mine doesn't hold water, as my grandpa used to say. Why that dog won't hunt, as my Uncle Bob used to say. Okay? Why it's an unreasonable theory, as Pastor Webb would say. And here's the theory. Are you ready?
Hold on. Before you say it, let's give them the number to call in, and that's 1-855-244-0077. Now, Mac, get us all fired.
Are we sure Chris isn't listening?
I told him not to. I told him to think about it. He'd probably have a job after this is done, and that if he didn't, just to look at it as a way to pursue other ministry.
No. Listen, the opinions about to be said by J. Michael McCoy are not that of KTIA, Chris Roloff, Stu Epperson Jr., or anyone else of sound mind and a reasonable mind. This is just totally me being me. And if you've hung around me long enough, if Bradshaw's listening, he just went, uh-oh.
Probably.
Maybe we should call Ron and make sure that Chris isn't listening in the office.
Well, he's on chat.
Chris is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
So's Ron.
What did Chris say? How do you know he's on? You just saw him log on?
He asked what we were talking about today and what the phone number was, which is why I announced the phone number. Okay, go with your point. Let's do your hypothesis and let's talk about it.
I don't want to lose my job.
Hold on a second.
I've been on the radio since I was 14. I don't want to lose my job because of somebody misunderstanding that this is just I just want to have a conversation. I just want to propose a theory that may not have any... I've got a scientist in the house. I've got a theologian, somebody in seminary to my right.
I'm not in seminary yet. I'm hoping to go to seminary. It's different.
I've got a future seminarian to my right. I've got a scientist to my left. I got white trash sitting in my chair. I'm the president of the Not a Good Enough Christian Club. I just want to propose a theory without having a whole bunch of people with their screws come loose.
Okay, propose the theory. I'm ready. We're ready. We're braced.
My blood pressure's going up. I can feel it.
You are getting red.
I know. All right. Is being a non-believer, and I guess is that an atheist then?
No, that's good. Yeah, atheist, agnostic, not a believer, not a follower. Let's categorize.
Is it more politically correct for me to say non-believer than heathen atheist?
Yes, let's go with that.
Because heathen atheist
No,
fits,
let's
right?
go with non-believer.
But doesn't heathen, atheist, pagan, worthless pot? No, now I've gone too far. That wouldn't be political.
Just stick with non-believer.
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 Right. So, does a non-believer? Is that the way I started? Does?
Yeah.
Does a non-believer? Is a non-believer? Does a non-believer? Well, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Does depends on what does mean. Now I feel like Bill Clinton.
Or how about is?
Is.
Is
No,
a
it's
non-believer.
does.
Does a non-believer have a
Is there a better way for me to...
I like the way you got it.
Maybe there's a more politically correct way.
Nope, go with it.
Just that?
Just go with it.
Is it a hyphen or just one? It's not a one. It's
two words. Dealing with this in my own personal life and having this in my family, I think just go with it. Just say it all together.
My theory is not the opinion of anyone in Christian radio, at Salem, at the American Family Radio Network, at Potts, nowhere. It's just mine. Here, I'm gonna cover up the logo for the station.
Yeah. Okay. Now go.
Does a non-believer have a mental disorder? I said it. I feel purged.
Actually, Chris, he said you might be onto something.
Chris did?
Yeah. Earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they want to take credit for what I'm saying.
Maybe.
I don't know. I bet the next thing he says on chat is, I wouldn't go that far. And I'll tell you why I feel this way. And I know we've had some fun ramping up to this. Now let's just calm down a little bit and let me explain to you my theory, because I'm not joking. If you know me, or if you've listened long enough, and if you've listened, then you know me. We're friends. I mean, I don't know if you know that that's the way I feel, but when you've done this for as long as I have, you are an extension. You are a prosthetic in my life. I run into people who I have never met, but I embrace them because they know who I am. They like or dislike, but they listen. They allow me. One of the great things about this product is you have to allow me to come into your home. You're not. It's not forced upon you. unless somebody ties you up to a chair and turns on the radio as punishment and makes you listen. So you know that I have a mental disorder. It's called borderline personality disorder. I've been treated for it for years. In 2009, I went into remission, and to this day, my psychiatrist would tell you that I'm in remission. 7% of the people who have borderline ever get treatment, and 3% of the 7, not 3% of the 100, 3% of the 7 ever go through remission. And that has nothing to do with what I did. That's a gift God gave me. He needed me. Here's how I see it. He needed somebody on this earth who loved Jesus, who could understand the mental disorder of borderline personality disorder. If you look it up and read about it, you'll know why my wife is a saint. Truly, a saint. Saint CJ. There will be a statue of her one day in some Lutheran graveyard of Saint CJ. I not only married above my pay grade, she's in another class. Because God gave her to me because she has the patience of Job. And she has the ability to question authority like Moses.
That wasn't a good attribute, though, of Moses.
Well,
questioning God wasn't a good idea.
I think it is. But that's a whole nother
But
conversation.
in the context of the Moses story, it definitely wasn't.
Well, I think those people that challenge God and ask him if he was doing the right thing, maybe Noah would be a better example than Moses. But
Or even Abraham.
Yeah, those people that challenge.
Yeah, because Moses is like, well, who are you, God? And God's like, I am. He actually was kind of an off-the-cuff, smart aleck remark. I am who I say I am. Who are you?
Because when, my wife never allowed my borderline to negatively impact our children's raising. She was a mother bear at all times. So I understand. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I understand what a mental disorder is. Understand that a mental disorder is brought upon no fault of your own. The person that is inflicted didn't do anything to get it. Okay. They didn't sign up and go to war and come home with something that causes them to be the way they are. They didn't take a bunch of drugs in their lifetime, and so they have a weird way of looking at things. They're normal people who have something traumatic happen to them, and the way it impacts them as a child, it impacts them as a 20 and 30 and 40 and 50-year-old. I'm not going to go deep into borderline personality disorder, but any disorder comes from some disruption of maturity, mental and emotional maturity. Why do I think that a non-believer has a mental disorder? Because how else can you explain it? How else can you explain someone not seeing God, our Creator? Remember, I'm not talking about Christianity yet. I'm talking about a person who doesn't believe in a Creator, who doesn't believe that Creator found that we were sinful to no end and there was nothing he could do to stop us from sinning, so he just had to take sin off the table. And that's where Christianity and Christ comes in. But there is no God. Those are the people I'm talking about. There is no God. I believe those people have a mental disorder. And just walk with me this hour. Just come alongside me and walk with me this hour. And if you don't agree, I want to hear about it. If you do agree, I want to hear about it. I think I'm on to something, but I need to hear from you. 1-855-244-0077. Also, jump on the chat with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, and we'll be back live here on The Truth. Yeah, The Truth. 99.3 KTIA, Iowa.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot
Yeah.
of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it
Okay.
and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem
Yeah,
like
I
a
overcorrected
professional spirit,
'cause
it's a furnace, why
it
would
caught
you
me
live
off
so
guard.
deeply in a furnace. It's not just that, you know. We
Normally,
want
when I
to
bring
show
it
the
down, I
world
leave it
that you
down.
can have
I
this
forgot that I took it up for that high
It's
bomb
gotta be, it's your home.
and didn't bring it back down after the
Built into our
bomb.
daily trainings, it's built into our
Because I
culture.
tried to add something to the
We're
show.
going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Have you ever been told you're not a good enough Christian? Well, we have too. Join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. Now here's your host, president of the Not a Good Enough Christian Club, J. Michael McCoy.
21 minutes after the hour, we thank you for tuning in to The View from a Pew. It is a place where, in most Christian radio programs, it is a professional theologian or a doctor or a pastor or a teacher sitting in my chair as the host. And I'm simply not there in my growth. I'm in the pew. I'm in the same place you are. Maybe you're, way above me. But I'm a curious son of a gun, and I learn by asking questions. I am one of those people that give me an instruction booklet, and I'm going to be numb by page 3. Let me ask you questions on how something works or how to assemble it or whatever that book would be about, that instruction booklet, and I'll learn in a heartbeat. I don't know. That's just the way I learn. So I learn by asking questions. And I love to talk about Jesus. I love to talk about because in my life, he's always there. I don't get to leave him at home. It's not Sundays. It's not Christmas and Easter. It's the hounds of heaven have bitten me bad. And I love it. I just love it. Can't believe I didn't get here earlier. But I got here exactly at the time God wanted me to get here. And I believe that. So if I believe I got here when God wanted me to be here, why is it that so many people are non-believers? Because I always believed in a God. I had no problem with a power greater than myself. And I had no problem with the fact that he had a son named Jesus who he came down to earth and forgave all our sins. But I was still a God guy. until John 6:44 slapped me right in the face. And God wooed me. And I love that word, wooed.
So, Mac,
God wooed me into a relationship with the Trinity, including Jesus Christ.
So Mac, here's something, though. If we're going to have this conversation, that maybe we should define what is a mental disorder. And mental disorders are defined as a psychological pattern or abnormality, potentially reflected in behavior and is generally associated with distress or disability.
Okay, now I want to start. Let's go back and unpack that for a minute. Read me the first line.
A mental disorder or mental illness is a psychological pattern or anomaly.
Okay, so in other words, Bob is a scientist with a mental disorder. You can't look through a brain scan and say, "Oh, he's different." There's something different there, right?
Well, it depends on the cause of the mental illness, meaning that it could be physiological.
It's not a mental illness; it's a mental disorder.
It could be physiologically that it may be able to see it.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, just because it's psychological doesn't mean it's not physical too. Manic depressiveness can be monitored on a CAT scan.
Yeah,
but
right.
it doesn't. But it's still a psychological
Yeah,
illness.
you can have a brain tumor that will cause psychological.
Sure,
illness.
Pick's disease can be picked up on it,
Well-
but it's still a mental illness.
What I'm saying in my theory, and that's a good point, what I'm saying in my theory is the mental disorder that I'm explaining is one of a disruption in the thinking process of a non-believer. And what I think, but go ahead with your concept of unpacking mental disorder.
Well, but no, I think you're really onto something here. But I think when we need to, the word that I keyed into was anomaly, and we need to talk about why it'd be an anomaly, because now in today's day, in our day and age, we have a lot of people that would have this, so therefore it wouldn't meet the definition of anomaly, because that's something that's not common. It's different or not the way it's supposed to be. However, see, that not the way it's supposed to be is something to talk about.
Here's where I would define anomaly in this conversation, and that is that God made us in his own image. All right?
You're right.
God made us in his own image, but somehow the part of our brain, and I don't think it's physical, I think it's psychological, but you're the scientist, I'll go with it. It could be biological also.
It could be.
But that something happened as we grew up, and what I like to call the God filter never opened.
Sure.
You know, when you get your eyes checked and they've got all those lenses on those little silver things and they plop them down. How's the right? How's the left? How's this look now? Better, worse, stronger, weaker? Those are filters that allow us to see things differently. Now, we would say see them better.
Sure.
But if a person's eyes are very sensitive to light, and so in that filter you put a shading,
sure,
that's a filter.
Yeah. Let me. Can I bounce an idea off you though?
Yes, sure.
I would actually say that it's an anomaly because we look at how man was created in Adam and Eve. This was not the way they were supposed to exist. So your God filter thing's on the right track, in my opinion.
Okay.
It may be the right track. Here's where I would differ. I think the fall is where this mental illness happened, because we aren't supposed to be sinners. That isn't what God created man to be, but we are. And so, yeah, I think it's a mental disorder.
That's interesting. You play that sin in there. That's a good point.
Well, I hate to look at it in another way. What about believers that have mental illnesses?
What about believers?
Yeah, that they were believers and then they came down with mental illness.
Well,
are they still believers?
What happens to their filters? How do they see things?
That's a question I've wrestled with, Bob, because my mother, as we talked about it several times, died of a disease where she lost her ability to be herself. It affected her personality. My mom, who never took the Lord's name in vain in her life, spent the last couple months of her talking years, every other thing was, oh my, and, insert the word for God there. Well, you could just insert God, but I don't want to.
I understand what you're saying.
She didn't use that. She didn't do that. And it was very different. And, I think with I think there's two different levels here. I think, yes, in one real sense it is, and in one real sense there are other things now because of sin. Still, it's the same. It's the cause is the same. Because of sin, my mom fell sick, and that sin robbed her of her personality, and was a real and physical event. And so I think when we look at real mental illness, there is a physical aspect to most of it. I don't think it's just a mental thing. When you see somebody that's manic depressive, they literally need lithium. They need these things to function normally. It's not just something they can change.
Okay, but I want to make this clear though. I don't think these people were born with a physical disability or a gene or something that caused this God filter to not open.
Sure they were.
No, I don't.
Sure they were.
I don't think so.
They were. It's called the fall.
Well,
Mac, what you're looking at is you've got your glasses on. They're completely focused. You're right there. It's the fall, Mac. We were born sinners. In fact, Romans addresses this several times, and it says in Romans 1, the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known to them about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his internal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse.
So they suppress God through wickedness.
Yeah, and wickedness is a result of the fall.
Bob, you said you had a question on the chat.
Yeah, the question is, if a non-believer has a mental illness, are they still accountable to God for their lack of faith?
Boy, that's above my pay grade.
I mean, the answer is yes. It's not above your pay grade. Yes, you're without excuse. We just read it in Romans. They are without excuse, Mac. They may be mentally ill, but they're without excuse. God made it plain to them. And Jesus Christ is the medicine sitting on the shelf, and they're not going to grab it. They don't want to grab it. They want no part of it.
If they have a mental illness? If they have Down syndrome?
But no, Down syndrome's different.
Right, so what do you...
if we're talking about mental illness in the sense of the God filter thing you were presenting,
right,
then yes, they're accountable.
But see, I keep saying mental disorder, and I think there's a huge difference between mental disorder and mental... I know there's a huge difference.
Okay, well then...
I don't have a mental illness. I have a mental disorder.
I think the way that was framed, they were talking about what we were talking about.
Because a mental illness can be treated, and here's the difference with the way I've been told. A mental disorder cannot be treated with any drug. There is no medication that can treat a mental disorder other than unpacking your brain, going back to the source, the alpha, the genesis of where that disorder comes from, the event, the happening, the traumatic event in someone's life, because that's what happens with somebody with borderline. There's a traumatic event.
Yeah, no, in the aspect you just described, no, I'm on board with you. It's above my pay grade. Is somebody with Down syndrome?
Yeah,
that's above my pay grade.
But I don't think that's what that person's talking about. I think they're talking about the same thing we're talking about.
Yeah, you're not talking about that. You're talking about you believe that non-believers or people that won't accept Christ have this filter. So you're not calling
I believe that they don't have the filter.
Okay.
They cannot see the world with a biblical world view.
Yeah.
They don't see a sunset and go, God made that. They don't see a baby and say, that's a gift from God.
Yeah, they've suppressed the truth.
Yeah.
And that's in that sense your filter works. They were born and God presented himself to them throughout creation, and they've suppressed that, and they've grown further from God and created a large gap and divide.
Yeah, so I don't think you can really compare that definition of mental illness with what we had been talking about, that people that genetically have that.
To me, that's the difference between mental disorder and mental illness.
Well,
if you're depressed,
and that's why I wanted to define what is.
Right. Yeah, if you're depressed, that's a mental illness because you can take an antidepressant. If you have, what's the one where you're always high or you're always low? Bipolar. If you're bipolar, you can take medications to even that out. If you're borderline, there's not a drug in the world that can deal with you. You have to deal with you. And for me, getting.
So is it more of a personality trait then than necessarily a disorder? I mean, it's a disorder just because not everybody has it.
Sure, you can call it a trait. I mean, I don't think mental traits are defined in the DSM-4.
No.
But there's a difference between a trait and a disorder. A trait is something that you have ultimately some control over on the surface, maybe, Bob, where a disorder you don't. You've got to dig.
Right. You cannot by yourself get to the bottom of it.
Right. And a trait, you can just stop. You just stop doing it.
Well,
it's a bad habit, and I'm going to change it.
You could try. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
See, the Bible doesn't really address the mental like we're talking, but what they addressed was, for instance, the man that was in the cemetery that came running to Christ. He had a legion of demons, but he was acting insane. You see, so the other boy, or the boy that had the disorder that they say was demon possessed, was epileptic. And so a lot of the mental illness that I see, like in the Bible, is associated with a spiritual condition, a demon attachment or whatever you want to call it.
And someone with epileptic seizures in the year 30 AD would seem like someone possessed with a demon to someone who couldn't medically explain it.
Yes.
Okay. Does a non-believer have a mental disorder? 1-855-244-0077. I guess everybody agrees with me. I don't like that at all. Somebody's got to disagree with me. Where's Laura when I need her? Live here on The Truth. KTIA, Iowa.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
The only way we come to know the saviorship of Jesus Christ is by bowing and acknowledging that he is Lord and King over all the earth.
Jesus Christ died on a cross, paid the penalty for our sin, and by repenting of our sin and accepting him by faith, what he did for us, we are forgiven.
Salvation is not a combination of faith and works. Salvation is by faith alone in God.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network, and then Pastor Michael Mudloff with True Blue from 4 to 4:30 here on The Truth, 99.3 KTIA. We're talking about, does a non-believer have a mental disorder? And if you're just joining us, I'm not saying that in humor. I'm not at all. I take fully responsible for this comment. It's not the opinion of KTIA or the Truth Network or anybody sitting in this room with me. I understand mental disorders. I have one. I don't keep that from people. In fact, to be honest with you, sharing it has always helped people. I've had people come up to me and say, you know, my husband's just like that, or my daughter's just like that, or my blankety blank, blank, blank. So it helps people. Why do I think non-believers have a mental disorder? And what's a mental disorder? I call it the God filter. Think about the things that the eye doctor does with your eye. Is it stronger, better, weaker? How is it? That's something that he puts down that filters what your eye is seeing. Well, what if there's a big filter that drops down? You know, think about a wheel coming down out of the bottom of an airplane. Bump, and there it is, and it's there, and it's always there. And it allows you to see the world as God is present in the world. It allows you to see the world with God in the world, everywhere. You could only see in black and white, and now you can see in color. You couldn't smell anything, and now you can smell every aroma. You were blind, but now I see. The God filter. Here's a Bible verse that I love, and I'm going to share with you, a couple verses that I'm going to share with you, which I'd like to present gently before you as perhaps some reason that perhaps what I say is biblical. It's Ephesians 2:10. For by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not of your doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. If we are made in the image of God, every one of us, and there are some of us that he knows will never call out his name. There are even those that will not only never call out his name, but they'll blaspheme his name. Those are the ones that the accuser has a hold of better than ever. I've never been a person who swears using the Lord's name in vain. Have I ever done that? Yes. Am I a blasphemer? Yes, because I've done it in the past. But that was not my common language. I had a couple of other bombs that I'd drop. But God has always told me that taking his name in vain that way is blasphemous. And I've always known that, even in my darkest hours. But those people that can do that, and it just rolls off their tongue, now that gives me the creepies. You know, some people kind of freak out when they see blood and pass out. I'm not one of those. Some people, you know, get scared easily and can't watch horror movies. They're not my favorite, but I'm okay with them. But when somebody just point blank throws those terms out, and it's just their common vocabulary, it's so common to them that they don't even realize what it really means. Honey, do I look fat in these jeans? Of course not. Never, my love. You never look fat. Saying swear words? What? God's just going to ignore them? Hey, God, I'm gonna GD you all day long. I'm gonna make fun of your son's name. Those people don't have the God filter. They don't recognize how sad don't you think that's God's ultimate sadness is blasphemy? I mean, it's the only unforgivable sin, right?
Well, blaspheming against the Spirit is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
but hold on. Isn't that the same thing, though?
I don't really know what Jesus meant by that. I'd have to do more research on that.
Well,
that's a topic you probably know more than me about.
Well, but all I know is that I've had that conversation with pastors for years and years and years, and it seems to be, unless you're talking to a Catholic, and I love the Catholics, they just have a few more rules than I do.
Sure.
But they will tell you, and Pastor Mike is the one that made it definite for me, that the only unforgivable sin, the only way to vacate your salvation is to deny God and then blaspheme him.
Yeah, and I think that's what that's specifically referring to is if somebody could, that they would look at the Holy Spirit working in their heart and say, "You're not only in there, but I'm going to mock you while you work."
Right.
And that, I don't know. I don't even know if you could. I don't even know if that's possible. Gosh, I hope God would stay my hand from doing such a horrible thing to myself.
Well. But do you do it intentionally or do you do it once?
I think you'd have to do it intentionally.
And I think you do it constantly. And I think you stand, you're a Bradshaw. You stand on the top of the bleachers and shout it out.
But salvation's even available for him at this point.
Obviously, yes. But if you are an individual that spends your days publicly and outwardly and professionally and verbally and denying God's existence and mocking those that don't deny that existence.
It's scary. I often wonder, we talk about levels in heaven or hell and levels of punishment or glorification.
I don't, just you Mormons do.
They talk about different heavens. They're crazy. But we talk about this stuff and we know there's hotter places in hell. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of these people that go, well, I'm not sure if God's there, and if I get there and I'm wrong, it's okay. Those people are in a lot better condition than guys like Bradshaw, who God is going to go, not only did you know I was there, but you blasphemed me. That you blasphemed me, that you got on the radio and you told people within earshot and made your earshot bigger and you forced things upon people's ears. It's not going to go well. There's no chance. There's no, I didn't know God. Because you knew enough to blaspheme him.
Yeah. No, you don't get it. At some point, God's grace is not available to people.
Yeah. It's not that it's not sufficient. It's not available.
It's not available. And there's the God filter.
Yeah. I think another aspect of it is to look at the fact that, Satan and his army of followers are there. His job is to kill, steal, and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to try to take out people. He's going to try to steal anything of God from them and try to destroy anything of good and love and so forth. So you see, that's a constant that you have to understand is always working in these people. And it's not just, a mental disorder. I don't see it as just that. I see, you see that filter.
Yeah.
Well, who removes that? Or
Jesus Christ.
And then who puts it there?
Sin.
Okay, sin that is brought on by those by.
But it's brought on by the sin of Adam. The fall's universal.
Yeah, but Satan is alive and well, and he's God of this world.
I don't think that. I mean, I think we're giving Satan more power than he's due, and I don't want to do that. I don't.
That scares me.
Sin is very real. It is something that we are born into. We are born with this filter screwed up. Now, it may get worse because God says he leaves us without excuse, which is scary. Because here's a God, everyone wants to talk about God being loving and welcoming and gracious, but here's God saying in Romans, look, I revealed myself to you so that you could not come to me and say, I didn't know you, because you did. You should have been seeking. You knew who I was. You didn't want to. And so he removes excuse, and that's the fall of man.
So what you're saying is Satan started way back in Adam and Eve, and now he's sitting at the beach and enjoying
I don't know that
himself.
he's sitting at the beach. I don't think he's sitting in this room. I don't know where Satan is, and quite frankly, I don't care because Dan Fry has got enough sin of his own.
Well, he's dealing with the president and leaders.
Sure,
of all the
I mean,
countries.
yeah. That my guess is he's probably hanging out with Mitt, but fine.
You just got the cane.
He's hanging out with Obama.
You just got the cane.
He's hanging out with Obama. How about that?
All right, we got one segment left. Your chance to chime in on the chat at theviewfromapew.com or on landlines at 1-855-244-0077. Does a non-believer have a mental disorder? Are they lacking the filter to be able to look at life with a biblical worldview.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, and it's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
.350, 10 before the top, Salem Radio Network News, and then True Blue, starring Michael Mudloff from Westkirk Presbyterian Church. Satan will suppress God through wickedness. We suppress God through wickedness. Satan has the power. Does Satan have the power to remove the God filter? Does Satan have the ability, like kryptonite was to Superman, make the God filter worthless, unusable? Assuming, now remember the picture, I want you to have this picture, that everything you perceive in your heart, in your head, with your eyes, you see through a biblical worldview. You see it through the way God intended you to see it. You don't see the sun and say, what a cool ball of gases and rock. You say, what an amazing thing God gave us. You don't think it's a coincidence that all the planets are perfectly apart from each other so we can have this perfect gravity, and we're the only planet that has it. You don't think that's coinky-dink. You know that it's God. Okay, the Big Bang theory was not from somebody walking up to God and God says, here, pull my finger. You know, that you know when something is of God. You know that when a child is conceived, that a child has been conceived, not a bunch of cells have come together that will grow into something that grows into something, and oh my God, when it pops out, it's human. Surprise! That's what I mean by a God filter. Mm-hmm. So Satan comes in and he shades it. He darkens it. He crumbles it.
Well,
he destroys it.
Look what he did to Eve. I mean, it was, did God say that this would happen?
Yeah.
He's asking questions
right.
and creating that doubt. And so is it possible that we get those same kind of questions?
Absolutely.
That,
But I'm talking about a non-believer.
Well,
Eve never failed in recognizing her creator.
Yeah, let's look at Satan though for a second. This is a good conversation. I like this. Martin Luther, you love Martin Luther, right? You're a good Lutheran?
Yeah.
Okay, Martin Luther writes, "Why should you fear? Why should you be afraid? Do you not know the prince of this world has been judged? He is no lord, no prince anymore. You have a different, stronger Lord, Christ, who has overcome and bound him." And then he goes on to call him, he's like a chained dog. Now, this is Martin Luther, one of the great reformers. That's my view of Satan. He's a chained dog. If you come under the power of Satan, you have thrown yourself within the grasp of that dog. You've walked up and ran into his doghouse. And that's why when everybody's like, oh, Satan made me do it. Satan didn't make me do it. Dan Fry made me did it. Because if Satan made me do it, I'm screwed. And I don't want to be there. I'm content with me being evil. I'm content with being cleaned and in need of grace. Chris said on chat that grace will never end. And I really like that, except that he's wrong. And this is so awesome. He's totally wrong.
Sorry, that's a bad laugh.
When we go to heaven, we go under a process called glorification. It's where God literally makes us holy. We will be glorified with God. We will no longer be in need of grace, and that's the good news. We won't be broken. We won't be mentally ill. We won't be deficient. We will be as God created us to be. It's the good news.
Well, we didn't get a tremendous amount of input today, and this has become a question that is now on my. I'm pointing over here because of my little computer. On my list of View from the Pew questions. I can't wait to ask other pastors and people about this God filter thing, because I have friends who just don't get it. They don't get it. And they have had the opportunity and the tools and the people to come alongside them. And not only do they not get it, they deny it. And then they fight against it. And then they blaspheme. I'm saying that word wrong, aren't I? Blasphemy? Blaspheme.
Blaspheming.
Blaspheming. The friend of mine that says, I don't know if there's a God. I don't know. That's not who I'm talking about. That God filter is there. The Holy Spirit hasn't come in, and the hounds of heaven haven't taken a bite out of their bottom yet. God's working on that person. That person is a crock pot of faith, not a microwave of faith. It's a slow cooker. And God will woo them into a relationship with our Savior, Jesus Christ. John 6:44. I just want to know why I want to know why so many people live at the feet of the accuser. And it's never been more prevalent in our society than today. Never been more prevalent.
Or it's never been less prevalent anyway.
Well,
we look at Rome. Rome, they fed each other to lions for fun. We don't do that here.
Not yet.
Well, part of the problem is that we are rich, and we're self-sufficient, and many of us feel like we don't have need for God.
Shoot.
Well, that describes the.
See that there you go.
Yeah, Bradshaw told me on the air one day, I don't need God. And I said, are you breathing? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, you need God. God's what made the air. God's what maintains this world.
For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is a gift of God, not as a result of your works, so you may never boast. For we are his workmanship. I love that word. We are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in him. Ephesians 2:10. I love that Bible verse.
That's the good news right there. God crafted us.
I'm always interested in your input and helping me grow. Right now, I'm going to run with that theory for a while. Why is that important? Because I see that non-believer, that blasphemous man or woman, as helpless, as mentally deficient, as incapable because Satan has a hold of that filter, and there's no way that wheel's dropping down out of that plane for that smooth landing.
Right, and they don't see it.
And they don't see it because Satan stands in front of that God filter. So if you're one of those people, or you know one of those people, just tell them to say one thing from the heart. Satan, get out of my life in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm about to lie. Satan, get out of my life in the name of Jesus Christ. I'm about to blaspheme. Satan, get out of my life in the name of Jesus Christ. Try to see if that person that you pray for their soul can do that. And maybe, just maybe, the God filter will drop into place. I'm praying for you. Have a great day. True Blue is next on KTIA, Iowa.